On to football. What do you say?
Let's talk a little bit of football. A little throw and catch.
Let's look at
option.
let's look at tonight's game. Just to start it off, the major storylines are just 2-4 for the Cardinals. So I think it would be I'd be missing it if I didn't say that this is a must-win game for the Cardinals. D-Hop's finally back. They had crushing news losing Hollywood Brown for what could be the entire year.
They're lucky that they had a receiver who could step right into that role.
Yeah, and then you look at
they traded for Robbie Anderson too.
Yeah, they got Robbie Anderson, who's just I hate him.
I hate him too.
But then you look at the Saints, though, who are also 2-4. No Michael Thomas once again. No Jarvis Landry once again. They're going to be playing through Kamara, Taysom Hill. Pretty sure the Big Red Rocket's still in there. I think Jameis is still out.
Big Red Rocket.
So,
yeah.
Both of these teams are 2-4. Which team needs this win the most out of these two in this matchup?
I'm inclined to say the Saints, but that's just because I don't want the Eagles to have a good pick.
Don't say that.
No, I said it. But I really don't see how the Saints win this game. They're down. Why can't I think of his name? The shutdown corner from Ohio State, Marshawn Lattimore. So they don't have a Marshawn either. That's a huge loss. The Saints team is just old. Like I don't think that they're a very good team. That's why it was really surprising during the offseason. They made the moves they did which were like win now moves, but you didn't really know how Jameis was going to play per se. And then he got hurt. So Red Rocket's hurt too. So I think we'll see a decent chunk of Taysom. But
the funny thing about it, though, is they're as bad as they looked last week. They almost beat the Bengals. They lost 30-26.
Right.
So
That's true. That was a revenge game. That was revenge.
Yeah. You can't.
No, I know. We'll have to see. I think Rondale Moore will still do what he's been doing. Like he played 99% of the snaps last week. He'll have to do that again. They don't really have a choice because James Conner's still hurt too. Sucked last week. I don't think he's a very good player. And yeah, like we'll have to see.
There was a point in this league where you'd be like, this is a tasty matchup to watch, but
right, exactly.
It's not though, and it's obviously a little bit of an upgrade from the god awful Commanders-Bears game we had to watch last Thursday.
That was the worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and the Broncos need to stop being on primetime. They got to do something about that.
Yeah,
I can't watch Russell Wilson anymore. And then
keep getting away with this.
Dude, Nathaniel Hackett is the Adam Gase of this generation. I mean, he is so garbage.
He's got to be done.
You have to fire him. They paid Russell Wilson $250 million to be so average.
I think if the Broncos lose 3 more games, he's done.
How do you make like what is going on with the Melvin Gordon situation? Like so let's just get this right. When Javonte Williams is healthy, Melvin Gordon is taking half the carries, which makes no sense. Javonte is significantly more talented.
Yeah.
Then Javonte gets hurt, and they give the ball to Latavius Murray instead, who they just picked up off the Saints practice squad. Yeah. I don't really understand.
There's another running back, too, they were feeding a lot.
Mike Boone.
That kind of says it all right there. I mean, I don't know why they brought him back in the first place. Like, he has history of fumbling the ball. He's just not the player he once was in San Diego. I just don't know what they're thinking with him.
I don't think Nathaniel Hackett
they have no offense, and I don't know if you like. There's no doubt about this. Russell Wilson has not looked good, but you can't put all the blame on his back because the offense just doesn't look good. Like their O-line doesn't look great. Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are fine, but
I mean, with the receivers, it's like Courtland Sutton can't separate, but can catch. Jeudy can separate, but can't catch. And then you have like guys like KJ Hamler who are fine, but it's kind of interesting, like to remember that Tim Patrick was the preferred receiver, which is wild.
Yeah.
Like they have Albert O, who is a very fat. He's a 4.4 tight end who's huge. They got rid of Noah Fant in that trade, and then they benched him. He was a healthy scratch last week.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't think they know what they're doing. I know we just skipped to the Broncos, but and Russell's also got a shoulder issue, which is usually a baseball injury, and a hamstring strain, and he's somehow going to play through that. I think the Jets will win that game. Just to go on to that, I guess. Quick,
which pisses me off because the Jets are not a good team. They're just not. In my opinion.
I think they're like
you can disagree with me. They're 4-2, and
I don't think that they're a good team. I think they're, and I don't even necessarily think Robert Saleh is that good of a coach. But
I don't either.
I think they're doing exactly what they have to do to win games. Like,
yeah, they're doing the bare minimum, and I know you know Jets fans like your friend Jack. Like I'm just gonna go through their games really quickly because I'm entitled to my own opinion. But when I look at their games, right? Season opener, lost to the Ravens, rightfully so. They put up 9 points. They beat the Browns, who are not a good team at all. The Browns
are better than I thought, actually.
They have been. Like Chubb's been a top 3 running back in the league. Amari Cooper's been playing well.
Jacoby Brissett's played actually very well for the team that he's on.
Without Deshaun Watson, though, the Browns are not a good team. They're not a good team. But they barely beat them in that comeback game. Remember when they scored 2 touchdowns in less than a minute or something?
Yep, I remember.
Like the Browns should not have lost that game. So that should be 0-2. They lose to the Bengals 0-3. All right, I'll give them the Steelers win because the Steelers are an atrocity.
Yeah,
so that's terrible. That's 1-3 right there. They got 40-pieced the Dolphins where they're playing with a third string quarterback, and the Dolphins just aren't a great team in my opinion either. 2-3, and then they beat the Packers last week, which was honestly mind-boggling to me. Like the Packers aren't in Lambeau. The Packers aren't a great team. They're just not.
They looked horrible too. That was a good call by you.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers doesn't. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like he wants to be there. Aaron Jones has been kind of plummeting a little bit. But like in that game, I will give to them. That's the one game all year I will say the Jets looked like a good team. Like their receivers look good. Breece Hall has been fantastic.
He's so good.
Sauce Gardner slipping to them is still mind blowing to me because he's a beast.
He should have been the first corner taken. No doubt.
Exactly. No question about it. And Derek Stingley on the Texans has been pretty solid, but no reason Sauce Gardner should have fell. But he's been unreal. But they're 4-2. They're going to beat the Broncos this week. They're going to be 5-2, and Jets fans think they're a top team in the AFC. But I just don't think they're as good as teams are making them out to be. They have a relatively easy schedule. Like they could beat the Patriots. They're not going to beat the Bills. They play the Patriots again. They could beat them, at least win one of those 2 games. They could beat the Bears. They're not going to beat the Vikings. They're not going to beat the Bills. They could beat the Lions. They could beat the Jags. They could beat the Seahawks. They could beat the Dolphins. Like they have one of the easiest schedules.
You know who they remind me of?
Who's this?
The Jets really remind me of the Niners. Like I think their defense is really good. Like I think their defense is actually really good. Like both their corners, Sauce and DJ Reed, super good. They also have Jermaine Johnson coming off the edge. They found a stud in Michael Clemens. They have Quentin Williams, who's one of the best D tackles in the league.
Yeah.
Like they've got some guys. Carl Lawson. They really have some guys.
They're a young rebuilding team, and I'm not trying to discredit them from that, but I just don't think they're as good as they should be.
Well, I'm just saying that I think they're like the Niners because Zach Wilson I don't think is good. And I think that he's just a game manager, similar to how Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't really improve your team. He just doesn't lose you games. Like they're just going to hand the ball off. They have Breece Hall. They have guys like they haven't even passed the ball to Elijah Moore, who is one of the better receivers. And
he hasn't done anything all year.
Nope. I dropped him in fantasy. That hurt my soul. Garrett Wilson hasn't really done anything either. And Garrett Wilson was a 10th overall pick. So I don't know. We'll see.
I can't talk about the Jets anymore. On to some of the other games this week, which we got a fun Sunday slate ahead of us.
Yeah, this will be a good week. Last week sucked.
Last week did suck a little bit. But we got the Browns Ravens, which I think will be a fun one. The Ravens should win that one. but like you said, the Browns are still a scrappy team.
Mm-hmm.
This is
That's a
what,
rivalry.
week 7, so 3 more games, and then they get
Is it
I don't know. I
week
don't know when the
11?
Browns. I don't know when the Browns bye week is, but it's either 2 or 3 more games, and then.
I think it's week 10.
Well, wait. I thought it was 11 games, so week 12. Sorry, my calculations are wrong. So it's 5 more weeks, and
He comes
then
back against the Texans.
yeah, his old team week 12, which they should beat them pretty easily. So.
Let me see. I'm gonna look at. You can keep talking. I'm gonna look just to double
Oh,
check.
thanks. I can talk.
You're allowed. Yeah, I'll allow
Yeah.
it. No, their bye week is week 9.
Right. That's what I thought. I knew they had a bye week somewhere in there.
Houston's week 13.
So they got 4 more games until D-Watt comes back, and who even knows how good he's going to be. I mean, he's such a beast, but he's been out. He hasn't played in such a long time. So it's a pretty good game to ease him back into everything. But the Ravens. It's funny. Browns are 2-4. Ravens are 3-3. The Ravens haven't looked that scary. As great as Lamar's been, probably the MVP favorite, right? Or Josh Allen probably is, but Lamar's probably there too for MVP frontrunner. But other than him and Mark Andrews, the Ravens just aren't like a scary team. Funny signing this week. They bring back Deshaun Jackson at 35 years old.
Week 13, he comes back.
Yeah. Well, it was 11 games and then the bye week. Yeah. So
week 13. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying the Ravens bringing in Deshaun Jackson as another receiver, which is funny because he's like, maybe he still has some juice left in the tank, but at 35 years old, his best years are behind him. But at the same time, it's like the Ravens don't have any targets other than Mark Andrews, and it's clearly shown. This was mind blowing to me, and I'm sure you can give me an earful about this, but the fact that they blew yet another lead, all 3 games that the Ravens have lost this year, they've blown double-digit leads, and they blew another lead this past week to the Giants.
I lost my voice.
And then you just look at their receiving core. Like I said, Mark Andrews is literally it because their backup tight end Isaiah Likely had 2 catches. Demarcus Robinson, who they brought in from Kansas City, had 3 catches. Devin Duvernay, who is decent, had 1 catch. Kenyon Drake played surprisingly well.
And Dobbins got hurt again.
Dobbins didn't do too much in this game. And Deshaun Jackson isn't going to make a difference, in my opinion, but they needed other options out there, or the Ravens are just going to be more of the same last year and could very well miss the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens with Bateman. Bateman's coming back either this week or next week off his foot injury. He was supposed to be the guy that stepped up when Hollywood was traded. Obviously, it hasn't really gone that way yet. We'll see. Like, hopefully they'll get healthier, just as like a pure football standpoint. Hopefully they'll get healthier, and they're a lot of fun to watch when they're healthy. Ronnie Stanley is still working his way back from injury.
Ronnie.
He's a huge part of their offensive line. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like Mark Andrews is their entire offense. Their defense has looked actually very shaky for how good they are. The Giants game, I mean, I just think that the Giants are one of the most well-coached teams because we have no talent. So what we're doing is unbelievable. I straight up lost my voice. I was screaming so much.
It's pretty funny. At the beginning of the year, we would have not predicted that Nick Sirianni and Brian Dable would be the front runners for Coach of the Year right now.
Nope.
But yeah, I do.
But nope.
But I have to, as much as I do not like New York sports teams, I have to give credit where credit is due, and the Giants have looked very, very solid.
They really have.
We'll have to see if they can kind of keep that momentum going. But yeah, this is a must-win game, in my opinion, for the Ravens over the Browns, because if they lose this game, because they really well could be 6-0, blowing those 3 games.
They could.
And they're 3-3. They're at 500. If they lose to the Browns, they're 3-4. And then next week, a tasty Thursday night football game, they play the Bucks, and they could easily.
That's a fun game.
Yeah, and they could easily go 3-5. So this is a must-win game for the Ravens.
Marlon Humphrey against Mike Evans. That'll be a nice matchup to watch.
Oh, he's gonna hump Mike Evans.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Just what we want to see. Amazon Prime Video.
to go through those games, I
Mm.
think hot take, the Saints will pull this game out, and
Really?
I think the Ravens will beat the Browns.
Okay, so I could see. I'm surprised that you said that. I guess I could see it though, because the Cardinals. I mean, they lost to the Seahawks. Like that's atrocious.
Yeah,
They're looking so bad. I could see that. I really could. Um, and then the Ravens should beat the Browns, but like again, the Browns have been better than I thought, and I think. No, I really think that the Ravens should win this. It would be really embarrassing if they lose this game at home.
yeah,
Um, okay, so let's move on to. I mean, Giants Jaguars. Jaguars are actually favored, which surprises me given
very
that like
strange.
everyone is just continuing to doubt the Giants. I think the Giants will win this game. I think it'll be ugly, but I think they'll win this game.
I agree with you.
Jaguars actually have one of the best run defenses in the NFL, so I don't know how they're gonna. They're very creative, which is kind of cool. Like that's a new thing, and Wandale is finally getting healthy, so they'll probably integrate him a little bit more. And
Yeah.
Nick Kadarius and Galladay are both out again, so it's another week as a Giants fan. But
So in our league, Jay, I have Josh Allen on the bye week, so I needed to
yep,
pick up a quarterback, and there isn't really too many quarterbacks on the waiver wires. So
yep,
I'll kind of explain to you my thought process. It came down for me between Matt Ryan
and Trevor Lawrence,
and Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes, really?
Yeah, not Trevor Lawrence, Danny Dimes.
Okay.
And the reason why
Mine
I
was
said
Matt Ryan and Trevor, and I picked Trevor.
Danny Dimes is because he has that rushing factor to him in fantasy, so which is beneficial. But I don't know the last time he's thrown for over 200 yards. He's kind of like Justin Fields in a way, where I don't know if he just doesn't throw the ball that much or if it's the receivers, but they clearly just rely on that run game big time, and I think that's what they're going to try to do once again to beat the Jaguars. And Matt Ryan's obviously hit or miss. The Titans are a pretty solid defense, so Matt Ryan played really well last week, so that's kind of why I went with him.
They're
Just
a
to
bad
see.
passing, passing defense. They're a really bad passing defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that was exactly why I was looking at them too. Like I thought the Jaguars would bottle Matt Ryan up, given how bad.
Oh
The
yeah,
Colts have been.
who are you playing this week? Because Jalen Hurts is on the bye.
I'm playing Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence,
I
gotcha.
also was deciding between Matt Ryan and Trevor Lawrence, and I was just like,
Yeah.
and no, I would have gotten Matt Ryan if I spent the money.
Aw.
No, I wanted Trevor Lawrence. I think
I only spent $1.
it's the rushing upside of
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the Giants are so bad at defending the run. Like that's our biggest problem, ironically, because we have like Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, who are both humongous, but we're really bad at defending the run. I think James Robinson will do well. I think ETN will have a big game, and I think Trevor Lawrence might run a lot. So that's why I picked him.
I wish you good fortune and the worst to come. And
thank you.
just try from a football perspective, not from a fandom perspective. I'm picking the Jaguars just because, like I said, it's not just because I want to see the Giants lose, but I just think on the road, like we struggled, even though we beat them, and you and I were watching that game together. We struggled against the Jaguars a little bit, and Jaguars
that
at
weather
home,
though was really bad. Like
I wish that weather was terrible.
I would like to like. I wonder what that game would have been if it was like a good, decent weather game.
Yeah, but the Jaguars, they haven't looked good. I think they've lost 3 straight games.
Yeah, they've lost 3 straight.
So they're trying to snap that losing streak. The Giants, they're playing really well, so it could go either way. But I'm going Jaguars in this one. I know you're going Giants.
Right.
Another game to kind of keep your eye on is the Bucks at the Panthers, and I know you would most likely think that the Bucks are gonna, beat up on this team, but after last week's performance, losing to the Steelers and Brady yelling at his offensive linemen, everything going on off field with all the off field stuff he has going on with his divorce and whatnot, he's clearly just doesn't have his head isn't in it. Tommy Bahama, but this is the Panthers, like, did they win last week?
No.
No, they lost. They got
No.
spanked by the Rams, but they did not look
Yeah.
good. I know
PJ Walker is starting.
Sam Darnold's coming off the IR. I mean, Baker's just not it. McCaffrey keeps playing really well. I'll give him that. I think I haven't even heard his name, so I'm assuming DJ Moore has been non-existent all year.
It was one of the worst fantasy picks.
Big bust
that you
on
could have
that
made.
end.
Huge.
So this is a big bounce back win, I think, for the Bucks. I think they'll handle them pretty easily, but
I think the Bucks will kill them.
They just have a lot going on with Brady not looking good.
This is their get right game. So if they lose this, that's
It is.
big trouble.
Uncle Lenny's been playing really well, but we haven't been seeing those like dominant performances out of Mike Evans. Like Godwin's been playing pretty well, battling through his injuries. Julio's been non-existent.
He's just been hurt. Russell Gage has been terrible.
Yeah, I dropped him. He's been a bust. So we'll see, but I think the Bucks will bounce back and win.
Here, you know what? You know what's actually kind of an interesting game, and honest, it pains me to say it will probably be pretty close. Is the Falcons and the Bengals. The Falcons aren't doing it. You know what's amazing is they're one of the highest rushing teams in the league, and yet they don't have they don't have a good rusher like Algier. Cordell's hurt. They have Algier and Caleb Huntley or something like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was considering picking up Mariota too because of his running factor and his goal line factor, but
you and me both, brother.
I think at home, I think the Bengals are just going to be too much for them.
I hope so, because then maybe Kyle Pitts will catch more than 3 passes.
Yeah.
He's like probably the most consistent 3 for 19 that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
At least he caught a touchdown. All right. Let's move forward. What else? Lions, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will steamroll them. Dak is coming back.
Yeah.
Dak is back. Back again.
Big Sunday Night Football loss. They'll want to bounce back. So I think credit to Cooper Rush for doing what he needed to do.
Got 3 wins.
It's just funny. Yeah, it's just funny how like Jerry Jones is like, oh, we have a quarterback controversy on our hands.
Yeah, shut up, Jerry.
And then he looks atrocious against the Eagles, and just like that, welcome Dak back with open arms. So I agree with you. I think the Cowboys will win that. You'd think the Packers will steamroll the Commanders, but I generally just don't know.
I feel like that could be one of the upsets. Like Taylor Heineke takes on the Packers and beats them. That's what I really do think might happen.
It's very possible. And since that's the team I'm working for right now, let's go with the underdog.
The Washington football Commander team.
Yeah, let's see the Commanders of the Capitals of the Washington, D.C. state win.
I think they're going to win too.
Colts Titans, that's an interesting one. I think because with the momentum that I think could be a high scoring game, but with the momentum they've been carrying and coming out of the bye week, I think the Titans should win that game at home.
I think the Titans should win. I think it'll be close though.
Didn't the Titans sign Rodrigo as their kicker? I think.
They might have.
I thought they did.
Rodrigo, Rex
Beck Blankenship playing against his old team.
This is Jonathan Taylor coming back could be actually maybe the difference.
Is he though? I don't think he is.
He recorded a practice, full practice Wednesday.
Never mind. Rodrigo Blankenship got signed by the Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll see him tonight.
Hey, maybe he'll just stop by for a visit.
Yeah, quick bite.
I think if Jonathan Taylor's healthy, maybe there'll be a little bit more of a balanced offense because Matt Ryan threw it 58 times last week or something like that. Is that actually right? Was it 58?
It was something crazy like that.
And Michael Pittman had the day of all days. He had 13 of 16 targets. Alec Pierce played great on that game-winning drive. You know what? I'm changing my mind. The Colts will win this game.
All right. I'm going Titans.
All right. Next game.
Raiders should step over the Texans at home. A must-win game for the Raiders coming off their bye week. They're 1-4. They need a win.
That game is going to be so bad.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams will probably eat Derek Stingley, but I think Dameon Pierce will probably run all over the Raiders. It'll be a bad game all over.
Yeah. It's funny you said this week was a little bit more appetizing than last week, but it's really not.
It's not. You're right.
The only game that's really appetizing to me is rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Chiefs at 49ers, and
Yeah.
the Chiefs should kind of step all over them too. Because the
When do the
49ers
Eagles
did not
play?
look good last week.
Oh, they're on bye. And then Seahawks Chargers, the Chargers have looked just atrocious. Keenan Allen's probably not coming back this week either. Listen, man, I mean, they'll probably give Eckler had like 12 targets last week, maybe more. Probably give him another 12. I mean, they got nothing. The Seahawks will likely. So this is how I see this game going: is Eckler and Herbert will throw and run all over the Seahawks because their defense is horrible. It's just so horrible. But the Chargers defense, the run defense, Kenneth Walker is probably going to run all over them too. Like their run defense is also atrocious, and they benched J.C. Jackson last week.
It's crazy how like Rashad Penny had that big week, and then he gets hurt, and then Kenneth Walker kind of takes over, and he's been playing really well these past couple weeks.
Yeah, touchdown both weeks. He looks like the second round pick that he was picked to be. Still made no sense for their team, but I mean they've made some pretty good picks.
Yeah,
and Gino's been amazing. Can we talk about that?
Gino has been great. He's been a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Imagine saying that before this year.
Yeah, quarterback 7, probably the best year of his career.
He's outplaying Russell Wilson, and it's not even close.
And the thing is, they did not play well last week, but they
still won.
They beat the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday Night Football, Dolphins, Steelers. I think Tyreek will run all over them.
That's such a bad game.
Such a bad game, but Tua, I think, is going to play.
Tua's supposed to play.
Which hopefully he doesn't get his head bashed in again.
Dude, that would be so disappointing to watch that. I mean, it was like, I don't know, made me queasy watching his fingers like do what they did last time.
Queasy baby. And on that note,
what's the last game?
I think the Dolphins will beat them, and then
God. That's Bears Patriots.
And I'm not even gonna turn the TV on Monday. We got
I'm not watching that, dude.
Bears Patriots.
That's so bad. I don't
probably gonna throw in the over though. I mean the under.
Yeah, the Patriots should win that. Mac Jones might come back.